documents. So we used to and do get normally those kind of RFEs for I-129s. And for I-140s, the normal RFEs would be where they would be asking the petitioner, the company's ability to pay, or the beneficiary's qualifications, how they met the firm requirements, right? But very recent, after this administration started, we saw a very new RFE, which we had never seen before. So this was for I-129 cases where we did H-1B. They would be asking for the beneficiary's current residential address or biometric collection. So there are different wordings in these RFEs. Some RFEs stated that, we have encountered potentially adverse information related to the beneficiary and require a current residence address to collect the biometric data. And they also said that you will get a biometric notice, which will come separately, and then you will have to go for your biometrics. So when we say biometrics, biometrics means they have to go for their fingerprinting, which is then collected and then matched with the data they have to see any criminal record or any other kind of records in the system. So this trend, basically seems to stem from the policy changes during this Trump administration, which is aimed at enhancing, they say national security and public safety through increased screening and vetting of foreign nationals. So this is a very recent and new trend we are seeing, which did surprise us because when we file H-1B for beneficiaries, they would never ask for their biometrics. That was more of like an issue when you go for 485 or EAD, then they do get your biometrics. That was a common practice. But for H-1B kind of cases, they never collected the biometrics before or address verification. So this is something new we all are closely watching, but it is becoming a little more, we're getting more RFEs on this, yes.
But isn't the beneficiary's address already included in the petition forms? So why issue an RFE for it again?
Yes, that's what, we thought when we saw the RFE. Like, did you check the form? What were you thinking? Why did you issue this RFE? And we actually even called the USCIS because some cases we do premium where you can talk to the USCIS officer. We call them. And the only response that we got is that looks like they still need to verify to make sure the address hasn't changed or so something they are trying to still verify and ask this information doesn't make any sense, it's redundant, but they just want to verify, especially if the cases are pending longer. They think the address may change. What we feel is that they are collecting or maintaining a new data, maybe, where they're trying to put all the H-1B kind of beneficiaries who's normally they don't go for biometrics, right? So they want to have a data of their all biometrics and addresses. Because normally when H-1B comes to the US, they go for their visa interview at the consulate, right? Their biometrics are collected over there. So maybe there's a different consular data, and this is more people who are in the US. So they're trying to make a separate data for people who are present in the US. This is all in the new administration.
So are there any consequences of not responding to such RFEs, even if they seem duplicative? And if so, what are those consequences?
So yeah, our first thought was like, do we want to respond this? And our clients were like, I don't want to, provide all my biometrics. Why should I? I'm an H-1B beneficiary. I'm a professional. I'm not like a criminal. Why should I provide these details? But then when you don't respond to RFE, there's a very high risk. They may deny it. They just need one reason to say, right? The only reason they will say that you never responded to RFE, or you did not go for your going to deny your H-1B. And you don't want to have that kind of situation. So failure to respond is not a good idea. So regardless what they ask, it's essential that this RFE should be responded and properly. What we do feel is that depending on what the wordings of the RFE is, right? Some RFE is saying that, oh, we have seen some adverse data for this beneficiary. So we want them to go for biometrics. Then we are thinking that before sending my client for biometrics, I would rather respond to the RFE and try to ask, can you share us that data? What information do you have which is adverse to my clients? Because they should reveal that to us rather than just saying it's adverse information. So we would want to ask that information, and hopefully then once we get what information they do have, then take a decision that, how to proceed further. And so, yeah, I think it all depends, but you do want to respond, yes.
Understood. And have there been any reports of any arrests following these biometrics appointments? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this.
Yeah, so we did, AILA, which is American Immigration Law Association, they have been doing their whole data collection. So far, they said it's been fine. But if you have, this is we are more focusing here on employment-based cases, right? But let's say if there is someone not been any issue for those, unless there is some adverse information, then yeah, I would not want to send my client directly for that. First, want to see what the adverse information is, because we don't want to take chance. So normally for those situations where it's like just trying to get the biometrics has been okay. But if I feel there is something which is more confidential, which clients have not shared with us, or we want to see what information USAS has, in those situations, there could be a risk, especially if you are in non-employment based cases, if you are in asylum or those different kind of cases, you do want to make sure before you go for your biometrics, because this could be always a risk of ICE is waiting there for you situation.
Absolutely, great insights there. So, are similar RFEs also being issued to consular processing cases?
Yeah, actually, we did receive some reports that similar RFEs were issued for consular processing applicants. But then when USCIS was contacted, they said that that was an error. So because a lot of times they do this processing in the mail room, or the officer who did not really look into the facts and they just issued it in by error. So they think that they should not be repeated anymore. So consular cases should not be expecting any more RFEs. And let's hope so.
Okay, and what other types of RFEs should we expect for H-1B cap cases?
Yeah, so we right now we are in the mid of CAT cases, all those cases which were selected and lottery, and now we got that notice that we should start with the filings. We actually already started filing some cases under premium. We are noticing some RFEs, and and this expectation also, there will be RFEs, which we did notice is on a specialty occupation, asking that the position for which we file H-1B needs a bachelor's degree. We have to prove, the employer has to prove that. So that specialty occupation is a very one of the common RFEs. We got a lot of these in the previous Trump administration, and this was like, we got a lot of RFEs on this, and we expect there will be more RFEs coming for especially cap cases. If the titles are like more little, to make sure that education and titles, the codes, SOC codes are related. So specialty occupation. The other one which we do expect more is on the students, because students have been a hot topic recently, their statuses. So we have some cases, we do H-1B cap cases where they are masters here in the US. They are already present in the US here. They did their masters or OPT, STEM OPT, and they're already physically present. So we asked for changing their status. So RFE, which we do expect, and we did see that initially also, was on maintaining their status. USS wants to see evidence that how did these students maintain their status while they were studying and working on OPT, either studying or working. And these RFEs are very actually detailed. They have a long list of evidence they want to see that they were studying. So some evidence we submit is where they were residing, receipts of their payment of their tuitions, and what courses they took. So these can go very detailed, but maintaining of their status, because if they were not maintaining their status, then USS will not approve their change of status here in the US, right? Then they have to leave the US. So this is one of the RFE which we will expecting for the students, to show how they maintain their status. So whoever, please make sure that you are saving all the evidence of all those years you have been student, on your receipts of your books, your studies, anything. Make sure you all save all that evidence. That comes handy when we have those RFEs. Then besides that, we do expect H-1B RFEs on client, maybe letters, client documents, contracts, what they will be doing, and also maybe they will contact clients, site visits. This just brings me, this is not an RFE, but we do see sometimes when the cases are pending with USCIS, they do make site visits before they approve the cases. So we do expect that there will be some situations where, especially when you have a couple of layers, it's not an in-house position or a product kind of company, and this a staffing company. There are different layers working through vendors. So there could be RFEs and site visits, to ask those kind of that position still exists, or to make sure that who's controlling that employee at the client site. Then also we can expect RFEs because after COVID, the scenario has changed, right? Work location, people are working from their home. So there could be RFEs on that kind of situation as well.
Absolutely, really important things to keep in mind there too. If you guys do have any questions about this or need more additional information, send us an email anytime at info@tude.com. We'd love to help you out with this process. I know it does get a little complex. So Navdeep, let's dive into visa and status a little bit. What's the new requirement for DS-160 submission for non-immigrant visa applicants? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this has been a recently, as of March this year, the US Embassy in London, it requires that all employee who are e-visa applicants must submit their DS-160 form at least 48 working hours before their visa interview. So this requirement has since, expanded to apply at all non-immigrant categories, not just in London, and there are also other locations. So this is something very recent.
Okay, and so what should applicants do to comply with this new DS-160 timing requirement? Do we have any information on that?
No, please don't wait last minute. When you are making an appointment and you're going to go on this date, right? Why you want to wait last minute to do your DS-160? So applicants should submit this DS-160 forms at least 2 business days before their interview date. And we strongly encourage, early submission even before 2 business days. Early you could do is better, because this would avoid the risk of being turned away if they don't do at least 2 business days before that.
Okay. Any advice for anybody who's going through this process, anything that they should keep in mind?
So just make sure you take all your documents with you. Also, I know you do the form online, but you should print it. Take a copy, take 2, 3 copies with you, because sometimes they cannot see it in the system. So print your forms and make sure you also look at the list of documents, what are needed for each different visa category. There's a list of different documents which are needed. So you must take all those documents with you, because if you are lacking any documents, they're going to send you back. They're not going to give you a visa same day. So then that's going to delay it. Then, and there already visa appointments have been such a problem getting those. So you don't want to delay any of that. If you do have a visa appointment, make sure you have all the list of documents which are required for that classification. Each different visa has different requirements.
Absolutely. So wonderful insights there. If anybody does have any questions on this, feel free to send us an email. That is all we have time for today. So that brings us to the end of our conversation. Thank you everybody for joining us. A special thank you to you, Navdeep, for taking the time to stay up to date. Please subscribe and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to email us anytime at info@chug.com. Let us know what topic you want to see next. Until next time, stay safe and take care, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.